Hello everyone and welcome back to Whisky Wednesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, which will be happening this weekend. And on the subject of St. Patrick's Day, I'm here to talk about an Irish whiskey which has very much captivated my attention, which is this. Powers 100% rye Irish whiskey. Some interesting things about this bottle. It's quite annoying to pour from. It's the first one. It's got this very short spout. You have to get in quite close with your bottle. Bit of a tenacious point, but nonetheless, I do miss the old, taller Powers bottles. Fun things about this bottle. I can't recall many things which are 100% rye mashes. There's no barley in this whatsoever. It's still triple distilled, as classic Irish whiskey is. It is 43.2% and unchill filtered. Which is a little bit unusual in the grand scheme of things. Maybe rye as a grain can just pull through more flavour at a lower ABV with no chill filtration. Bottled under the Powers brand after John Powers himself, and this is matured in a combination of virgin oak, first fill American oak, and refill American oak, and was a sort of passion project of Carol Quinn, who is an Irish archivist, and she was digging through Midleton's records, and I can't remember if she works for Midleton or not, I'm assuming she does. And she found records from the 19th and the 20th century of 100% rye mashes in Ireland. It's £32 a bottle as well, which is not expensive at all. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but most fun things which come from the Midleton distillery don't tend to be relatively affordable. They tend to be a little bit more premium, especially this time of year. So it's quite nice to be able to buy something from that distillery which won't break a bank at all. But yeah, most of us know Powers. If you're watching this video, you must know the brand quite well. There are some tasting notes on the back of this bottle. I'm not going to look at them. Did try this whiskey last night when it arrived in the post. And as far as rye goes, I think it's quite a difficult thing to get right. The people who make it are very good at it, and they don't tend to do much sort of variation with it. You think about American brands like Buffalo Trace, Woodford, Heaven Hill, who make Rittenhouse. Is it Heaven Hill? Yeah, it is, isn't it? I'm sure it's Heaven Hill. Evan Williams? It's too early in the morning. Rittenhouse is a brand, loads of other stuff too. But rye is very difficult to get right, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Midleton have this huge facility. They're extremely experimental. If you can think of something that you want a distillery to do, they probably have done it. Midleton have definitely done it, along with brands like Buffalo Trace and large sort of industrial facilities like Rose Isle at Diageo. But nonetheless, here it is on the glass. It does come with some cocktail. When you find this on any sort of specialist website, it does come with like not a disclaimer as such, but saying try it neat, try it in a Manhattan. Obviously a classic cocktail when it comes to rye. I probably will put some of this in a cocktail because it's not really expensive, but I'm intrigued to know how this bottle opens up and if it does anything particularly unusual. But nonetheless, let's smell, let's taste. On paper, this is right up my street, so let's see what's going on. Yep, that's rye. Along with peated whiskey, probably the most distinctive nose in all of whiskey. Okay, a couple of things coming through at the start. We've got a combination of some really classic rye notes of like cherry, loads of like Luxardo, cherry and the juice they come in. We've got some acetone notes, like nail varnish, nail polish remover. That's not uncommon, certainly not for rye matured in virgin oak. There's a nice kind of like banoffee pie note to it. But again, we've got the classic combination of American flavour profiles here. So we've got caramel, we've got banana. There's that really nice peppermint top note that rye is famous for. And within that too, we've got like chewy caramel, there's like a fudgy thing. But overall we're getting mint, cherry, and then a slight kind of caramel banana thing. It's like fresh mint. If any of you enjoy making like mojitos or mint juleps at home, when you kind of smack the mint against your hand, it's the hit of all those oils kind of releasing from the leaf. And it's kind of candied as well. You think like peppermint sweets and like little peppermint candies. And mint toffee as well, which is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. Let's taste. If you gave that to me blind, I'd say that was a rye from any American whiskey distillery. It's very tasty. It's really, really moorish as well. The 43.2% unchill filtered thing I find really interesting, because most American ryes are 45, or Woodford's 43, Sazerac's 45, Michter's is like 42 point something. Rittenhouse can be 45, it can be 50. And they're all chill filtered, because it's somewhat of a standard thing to do that in American whiskey. There's a chewiness to this and a thickness, which those whiskies don't have, even at a lower strength, or a very similar strength to Woodford Rye, which I think is 43.5%. Also the use of the green too. Why do all, except Rittenhouse 100, I'm thinking of Bullet Rye, I'm thinking of Woodford, I'm thinking of Michter's. What's with the green? Does anyone know this? I remember trying to research it years ago, like why do rye whiskies use green as a colouring? I'm sure someone must have an answer. Someone must have done a research bit on this at some point in whiskey history. The taste isn't like explosive. It's not going to challenge you in any way. It just tastes like a really good rye. Those kind of peppermint, caraway, all spicy, Christmassy notes come through with it. Nice and chewy, very textural. It tastes like a rye. If you've ever tried a rye whiskey, this kind of tastes like it. It just has a bigger texture. I'm repeating myself now. The finish, it's got decent length to it. As I'm talking to you, I can still taste it. It's not dying away very quickly. There are some burnt notes which come through in it, like heavily charred oak, like really kind of dark, heavy oak notes to it. Slightly reminiscent. I'm not saying it's exactly like it, but this particular note of that heavy char oak is a little bit reminiscent of Tom Handy. And then the longer you kind of morph it and chew on it, the burnt notes go away, the intensity dies down, and through the back comes almost like glacier cherry, kind of sweet dark chocolate. It's a really nice whiskey. Like I rate that a lot, and I think that's the cheapest bottle we've reviewed so far this year. At just over £30. It was 32 quid. I think with shipping it came to 37. But yeah, £32 a bottle for a rye, which is lower in alcohol than some of its American counterparts, but it's still as good. if not slightly better. Difficulty scoring that. In fact, no, I don't think it is. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think that is, if you like American whiskey, and if you like Irish whiskey, and if you like rye whiskey, you're going to love this. This isn't a limited edition release, as far as I'm aware. It doesn't say small batch on it anywhere, although it might be a smaller batch than most Powers releases. But I'm giving that a solid 8.5. I think that is delicious. It's interesting. It's morphing two countries worth of whiskey together. It's not going to explode your wallet for a good bottle of rye, which some can these days. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Powers Irish Whiskey 100% rye. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next week. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. Cheers.